Everybody, Sean from Movie Assault here, and it's time once again for another movie review. This time around, I'm going to take a look at Night of the Blood Beast, which is a 1958 science fiction film that was directed by Bernard L. Kowalski, written by Gene Corman and Martin Varno, and produced by Roger Corman. It stars Michael Emmet as John Corcoran, Angela Greene as Julie, John Baer as Steve, Ed Nelson as Dave, and Tyler McVeigh as Dr. Wyman. This is a movie that was produced by Roger Corman. He's widely known for producing a lot of low-budget movies, mostly science fiction and horror stuff, but he did all sorts of exploitation films. This one was made in 1958 for a total sum of $68,000 and filmed over 7 days. And to be totally honest, what I've learned about this movie, reading about it, the making of it was a lot more interesting than the actual movie. Long story short, Martin Varno, the guy that originally wrote the script for this film, I think it was called Creature from Galaxy 27 or something like that. He wrote the script in 6 weeks for Roger Corman, and then Roger Corman and Gene Corman ended up paying him less than scale for the script because Varno was not a member of the Writers Guild of America, and so he didn't know he was getting paid less than scale. He was just happy that a movie that he wrote was being made. And then Gene Corman ended up putting his name on the credits as a writer because they made some changes while they were filming the movie. So Varno sued, and I guess he won, but he didn't get paid for a little while until Corman started hiring people that were actually members of the Writers Guild of America. You could find all sorts of information about this online, but I just thought that was much more interesting than the actual movie, which is what I'm going to be focusing on. So the movie is about an astronaut named John Corcoran, who's played by Michael Emmet. He goes up, it's a single seat spaceship. He's the first American, remember this was in 1958 before any Americans had actually gone into space, but he is the first American manned space flight, but something hits his ship. He loses control of the spacecraft. It dives into the atmosphere. He can't maintain control. It crashes, and it looks like he crashes into some sort of canyon area. The movie was made in Bronson Canyon, where all sorts of low-budget movies have been made over the years, from everything from White Zombie, Robot Monster, Equinox, even things as recently as a few years ago have been made there. But anyway, we never reference NASA or anybody who actually is responsible for this spaceship, but they sent out a crash recovery team that consists of 2 people in a Jeep and 3 people in a flatbed truck. So you can imagine the scale of this operation. They find John Corcoran appears to be dead, but his body isn't decaying or exhibiting any signs of rigor mortis. So they take his body back to this, looks like a transmitting station, and they begin to investigate. Even though he's technically dead, he still has no heartbeat, but he's got normal blood pressure, and his blood seems to be alive by looking at it under a microscope. The cells are still doing stuff. So they're a bit confused. And then strange things start happening around the station. The power goes out, all sorts of magnetic interference is interfering with their communications. And then when the power goes out, one of the guys, Steve, goes outside to see if he can investigate why the power has gone out, and he's attacked by some sort of animal. It turns out that this animal is actually an alien being, and it's implanted embryos inside the astronaut's body. So the astronaut Corcoran wakes up from this death, and he pleads for the life of this alien creature that is now stalking the area around this base station, and ends up killing one of the members of the team. But he pleads that the alien be spared from death because we really just need to figure out why it's here. And it turns out that John is harboring some sort of embryos inside him that are apparently of alien origin. Um, Night of the Blood Beast is a movie with a great idea. My description may leave a lot to be desired, but it's got an interesting idea. The fact that an alien comes to this planet, doesn't want to be killed, just wants to populate, just have some spawn, I guess. But there's also some messaging in the message that the alien gives people that is kind of interesting. But the idea is it sort of outstrips any ambition that they could have filming this because of the lack of budget. $68,000 is not a terribly large amount of money to make a movie on, especially with something that needs an alien costume that doesn't look like this one. And this is really why the movie sort of fails, is because the alien kind of reminded me of a cross between Captain Caveman and a turd with a parrot beak and grizzly claws. And that's the best way I can really describe it. I'll put a picture up here. You can see what the monster looks like. And even that really doesn't do it justice while it's moving. But, for a film with such a spectacular title, Night of the Blood Beast, you expect, and you've got this blood dripping down here. And it's a relatively boring movie. There's just a lot of talking. There's a lot of pseudoscientific language and a hell of a lot of cigarette smoking. And that's about all that really happens in the movie of note. I think with a bigger budget and more, maybe less lofty goals, it could have maybe been something interesting. But as it is, it's just sort of a talky, boring slog. I give it credit because there's technically nothing wrong with it other than the alien suit. It's competently acted, although not spectacularly. And, the sets are interesting and not terribly cheap looking. And even though it's filmed in Bronson Canyon, the outdoor scenes are well lit and well photographed. So technically it's an okay movie. It's just lacking mainly in that creature department, where it kind of is going to elicit some unwanted laughs because the creature looks terrible. If that wasn't the case, the movie would just simply be boring and not really hilarious. Even though it's not really hilarious, it's only moderately funny. But I'm going to give it credit for trying to do something different than most films of the time did. If you're interested in seeing this, definitely take a look at Film Master's newly restored Blu-ray, which can be obtained for little money. I think it sells about for $15 or so on Amazon right now. I haven't checked that out. I paid $24 for this, but it also comes with another movie that was directed by Bernard Kowalski called Attack of the Giant Leeches, and you can tell by the title that's also a quality feature. But yeah, if you're interested in 1950s horror films, this is not one of the better ones, but it is interesting to see, at least because the idea in part may have been recycled for Alien. I know I did It, The Terror from Outer Space for part of my Halloween 15, and part of that movie inspired Alien. So between this and that one, you got what amounts to Alien's origins. But I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10. Probably could have spent my time doing something else. It's only an hour and 2 minutes long. It feels a lot longer than that, but definitely check it out. But if you're going to check it out on the Blu-ray. It is available on Tubi and I believe on Fossum, but the copy that is on there is a cropped for TV version, and the print's in terrible shape. This looks a lot better, even though the content is still the same. It's still the same sort of not so exciting movie. So anyway, that's my long-winded review of Night of the Blood Beast, a movie that you can certainly miss and not miss much. So there you go. That's my review. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I appreciate your attention span. Stay tuned next week. I've got another movie review coming up, but I've already chosen what it is, but I'm not going to tell you. It'll be a surprise when it goes live on Sunday. So as always, thanks for watching. Take it easy.